Welcome to another episode of Pacific Matters. My name is Tomas Manglona, reporting to you from Saipan, right outside of the U.S. Delegate's office here in Susupi. On this episode, we have a special regional candidate conversations where we sit down with U.S. Delegate Gregorio Sablan, who's a 7-term U.S. Congressman, and now he's about to enter his 8th term as he's unopposed in the general election here in the NMI this year. Congressman, thanks for your time. We're here to talk about your election, your bid for re-election. This is, I believe, you're going to be your 7th term.
I'm in my 7th. It's going to be in the 8th term. So this is my 8th race.
And so you began in 2009.
The election was 2008. Yeah, my term started in January of 2009. Our terms start on odd number years, so elections are even number years. So, yeah, Tomas, it's been good,
10 years later,
yeah.
You still have that same fire from 2008 election?
Yeah, of course, when you have to put in the new fuel, right? There are things that still, I'm passionate about. That I have not been able to do, man, it's really difficult. And I want to do it because it's the right thing to do. It benefits the Marianas. It doesn't in anywhere endanger the United States or our national security. And the remaining long-term residents, trying to get an additional broad of people, long-term residents, and this would all be working. You have to be employed, so we did like HR 559. That one we intended for 1,032 individuals who were at risk of getting deported, and who had maybe U.S. citizen children or all different. So that turned out to be over 1,800, so that's over. Now we start on this other phase. And finally, a few months ago, I had agreement with the Republicans. So it got added onto the agenda. Every week there's a different committee that takes the floor, right? So it got added on and put out the agenda on a Friday, and on Monday morning I found out Congressman Jordan is whipping votes against it. Spoken to him once. I'm going to go back and talk to him again. I don't know what he can do. I don't know if he can let it go, but I need to be sensitive to the fact that if things don't turn out as well as I like, Jim Jordan will be the next chairman of Judiciary, and anything that has to do with this group of people will have to go through him. So you see that, Tomas, the difficulty. I still want to do this. I've taken this legislation, and stripped out everything. That these people will not be eligible for any public charge while they are in this 5 years to 5 years to 5 years residency. They would continue to work, they will continue to pay taxes, but cannot, they benefit from the taxes, of course, but all of these things. So that's one thing, Tomas. We're finally getting there on something that I've also worked with, and I continue to work on, food assistance. Sample. We're, excuse me, we should be rolling out soon a modified NAP modified SNAP for the Marianas. I'm still gunning for SNAP, but this should make all of us fairly happy, and that it would continue to and expand the number of individuals who are eligible for food assistance. And like Medicaid, I'm trying to get it to where it's like Medicaid, where every year it's now I don't have to go running around and chasing funding for Medicaid every year. Now it's guaranteed at no less than 60 million plus inflation adjustment. I want to get our NAP there. So, health, education, food assistance, try and take care of that for many people who can, so they could get out of that hole, right? If they want to. No, that's a different story, right? That's why we have governors.
Welcome back. This is Pacific Matters. I'm Tomas Manglona reporting to you from Saipan outside of the U.S. Delegate's office here, and we continue our candidate conversations with U.S. Delegate Gregorio Sablan. Now I wanted to shift, you were just talking about some of your legislative victories there and some of the long-term work. When you first entered office more than a decade ago, are there still some lingering issues that you see? What are some of the biggest priorities that you hope to address entering this new term?
No, Thomas. Yeah, of course, there's always something. There's always new priorities. But man, Thomas, this past 14 years has been good, I think, for us here. I've been able to bring from water. I went in arguing for 24/7 water for Saipan. We're now at 24/7 water, and I'm trying to get them to be able to drink that water out of the faucet. Ambitious, but it's possible. And all of this, over $200 million of cost, were never charged to consumers, CUC consumers. They were all paid for. Because if we were going to pay for this locally, we're never going to see these things, right? So that's also one thing that we've done, Our schools too, we've been able to pump money to our schools. Help the teachers, help payroll for 3 or 4 times, I understand. Now they're good till 2023, 2024. But as we get back into normalcy, I hope that PSS remembers to take care of its students, because we have some catching up to do. I understand in terms of lessons. We need to fix that, because that is a major, major interruption to our future. It will come back in so many years, and this is the group that... And that worries me, because we're not at the very top in the beginning, but that worries me. So things like that, concern me too much.
And speaking of the pandemic, how has the pandemic impacted your work with constituents, or even your work in Congress?
Well, yeah, no. To be honest, I don't like the pandemic. I doubt anyone does, but for me, I was able to work remotely, and there's been occasion when I'm here in Saipan and we were in DC in sessions, but I was able to work remotely and spend more time here at home. Yeah, I know it's time to start going out, and because I do like going out and have face-to-face and meetings with our people, my constituents, right? But I do that every year, nonetheless, by walking both sides of the parade grounds and just talking to people every year and saying, hi, how are you doing, checking up on them, to the point where some people here this year, like they saw me and she said, no, see, we knew you're coming. I won a bet, pay me. We knew you were going to come, right? So I'm still able to connect to the people I represent. And of course, they write to me, they, visit the office here, Tinan and Rota. And that's continuous, right? Whether it's normal or under the pandemic.
And
I don't know if I answered your question,
Yeah, and a
Thomas.
lot of your constituents, right before you made the announcement that you're going to run for re-election, many folks were possibly also hoping that you'd throw your hat in for governor. Uh, I know we've visited this before, but let's revisit it, given that this is, our Decision 2022 coverage in the NMI. What was the tipping point for you to say, I'm going to stick to being the delegate? And
Oh, okay, yeah.
what would you have to say to folks who say, they would have liked to see you run for governor?
Yeah, I'm as you may know already know, Thomas. I'm supporting the tandem of these two ladies running for office. I'm running under the Democrats. So I support my fellow candidates. When this came up, of course, this has been around for 3-4 years, but this came up, and yeah, we went around talking to people, checking. I thought that we do have the support. We had a fighting chance, maybe even a better chance if I ran than I did when I first ran for this office. But well, I'm very grateful with the support and confidence of our people over the years. And that right now we're at a place where I think the best place for me to be to serve our people is in Congress. No matter if I want to run for governor or not, this is in Congress, and this is an agreement. This is where my wife and I agree that, okay, we're in this to help our people. Let's do this. It's tempting sometimes, but no, I decided no. In 2022, I'm just running right now to win the race and helping as many of the Democrats and as many of the other good candidates running for office.
Welcome back to this episode of Pacific Matters. Here's more of our candidate conversation with U.S. Delegate Gregorio Sablan. I want to get to your seniority in Congress in just a second, but I did want to ask you, why decide to run under the Democratic Party? It's having its resurgence, and arguably, you could say it might have been easier just to stick on your independent ticket and get into your next term. Why join Democrats?
No, it'd be easier if I ran as an independent like I've done, and you don't have to sort of coordinate your schedules and all kinds of events, right? Early Thomas, this year, last year, of course, you assume the governor Torres is going to run again. You hear things, yet at that time, the lieutenant governor was still lieutenant governor. But, the Democrats in last election, and now we're starting to reorganize, right? So I started talking to Tina to run, and that, besides that, I have reasons to support Sablan and Staffler. They're running, even before they're announced, encouraged me to join the party and be able to support them, think it all through. So here we are now. They're the candidates for governor and lieutenant governor, and here I am as a Democrat supporting them as well. Because I think they are first, they're honest, they're truly honest. And number two, they offer a platform of what they plan to do if they get elected. There'll be adjustments to that platform, but yeah, they have a vision, they have a path.
And I don't think it's any secret that uh, the way the delegate works with the governor, especially in coordination of federal
Yeah.
funds, is important
Yeah.
for its execution. Uh, so if Representative Sablan and staffer were to make it into office, you would have that coalition. But I want to focus on the most recent years and your relationship with Governor Torres. It's been rocky, would you say? How has your relationship been with the governor? And looking ahead at your next term, uh, what do you hope the relationship would be with the governor, no matter the party?
No, I want to work with the governor. I mean, that's you know, highest official for the Commonwealth. I work for the people of the Northern Marianas. My constituents are mutual constituents of the governor, whoever he or she may be. I hope it's a she next year. But yeah, personalities, I guess, Tomas, the differences of, sometimes you're in a group and they're laughing about something that you really find nothing funny about. And, or, you find things out that they're maybe doing this, you may be doing this. It doesn't have to be the incumbent governor, anybody. And it's not the first governor that I've had disagreements with. So, where they're right, they do the right things, yeah. But if, I see and learn things that they're doing that doesn't help us, no, it's a waste of time. I have better things to do.
Are you willing to share some of the
No,
focus areas or issues that there might be some clashing in?
Yeah, I mean, over the years, generally, some of the things that, I find out that our government is not up to date with a certain requirement, right? Yeah. Where federal officials call the congressional office inquiring what do we know about certain things. Yeah, those are things that, and the hesitation for them to share information with me as if there's no other way I could get them. That's, I don't know what it is to us. And maybe I had that problem before, but right now, my importance to must rest the moment I step out my front door. I'm no longer important, right? I'm important at home, but here we seem to have the urge to be more than we seem to be. We get really irritated if we find out that a drop down button doesn't have the Northern Marianas. Why? Discrimination. We work to fix those things. We load to that, but why we have these differences? I think, for me, I think it's the values. Maybe it's my personal opinion, and I may be wrong, but I've seen people's values differ, and I'm not going to waste my time on things like that. I'm going to get caught in, and I've always been like that in public office.
I want to shift from local politics to your seat in Congress, a bit of national politics. You've built your seniority. You've become members of various committees as a non-voting delegate. Uh, that is powerful to have your role there. Uh, I want to ask you just how important maintaining the NMI's seniority in Congress is
Yeah.
with your presence there, and what it might mean if this is possibly one of your last terms for the next person who's going to be walking in as a
Mm.
freshman legislator.
Well, yeah, thank you for that question, Thomas. You're not suggesting that this is it for me, right?
I'm not. I'm not.
Nah, you're free to do that. You're one of my employers. No, no, seniority, of course, in Congress is it's important. It's important, right? It's not the only criteria, but yeah, it gives you access to, subcommittee chairs, and I get to vote before so many others, and committee selections if I have to get there, or subcommittee selections. I'm usually done by the first round and got my choices already. So it matters. You also build relationships with others, and they begin to trust that relationship. So getting the year of Speaker Pelosi is not easy, for someone trying to raise $300 million an election cycle. But and then the getting to also know the executive branch, but also the continuity of legislative work. Yeah, you may know a subcommittee staff, but there's another person who's actually doing the work with you, and all of those things carry through, whether it's Republican or Democrat majority. And that's important, the relationships, to sometimes open the door, and I've done what I call the apigigi diplomacy. My lady making apigigi doesn't do it anymore, but wow, I must have bought easily 2, maybe 3,000 pieces, right? Because some people like it. And whether it's Joe down at the books depository, surplus books, or a senator from an island that just likes it, so bring those. I've also been blessed, Tomas, that I'm able to sit down this morning with you, and I don't know why you're interested, but it's been a good 7 years. It hasn't been entirely easy. I've been blessed. The people allowed me to represent them by choosing me the first time I ran. And when I won against all odds, I think, where others just completely ignored me. And then the next one where I really had a fight with bigwigs, a governor, justice, a judge. Wow. But, the people have said, no, we want you to continue, so I have been blessed. Thank you.
And you were just talking about working in a bipartisan way. If the U.S. Congress is going to flip to Republican majority, how do you see that impacting your work, if at all?
Yeah, of course, I'll wait till November 8, 9 to think about that, Tomas. But it doesn't really matter. I need to get something done. I will find a way. Although it's getting more difficult to get legislation that we need to start at the Senate side. That's helped me with Senator Murkowski. Wow. But we'll have to find a way.
And I wanted to ask you about the Guam race. The primary is over, and it is going to be former Speaker Dr. Judy Wonpat against Senator Moylan.
Right.
I guess your comment on that race, if you have any, but also just what your relationship with the Guam delegate has been or will be, because there will be a new delegate. Delegate Seneclis is not in the delegate race anymore. So, how do you typically work with the U.S. delegate representing Guam?
Like any delegate, we have many common interests, like whether it's the Virgin Islands, Guam, and because we're in the same caucus, it's we're expected to work more closely, more often together. Like, it doesn't matter. It's not just Mr. San Nicolas, it's Miss Plaskett as well. In the past, it's the late Annie, Miss Bordalio as well, so yeah. But um, it's different. I mean, Congressman San Nicolas works differently. Maybe he's young, right? What is he, Generation X or I don't know. But really, he's not alone in that. There are other members, new members who do that, but different from the way I do work. So but our staff do get in touch, stay together. Now, as to the next delegate, I guess I'm Miss Wampat's running as a Democrat. I support Miss Wampat. Plus, I mean, I don't know if there's anyone in DC besides myself. Maybe there are, of course, who remember the late Congressman Wampat. That should give Miss Wampat, a little kick, and if she knows how to use it.
All right, Congressman, thank you so much. Those are all the questions I had. I wanted to end our conversation. If you wanted to look directly into the camera and tell people, address your constituents, and maybe tell them why you decided to run again.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, greetings, everyone. I'm first, and foremost, I am very grateful, Andrea, and I am truly humbled and blessed that you have allowed us to represent you, our people in Congress. Where it looks like we're going for another term. It will be our my eighth term, and because the petition submission is past the deadline, and I have been certified by the Election Commission as being the sole candidate. So thank you, everyone. I thank you for your support, and I thank you, and please consider voting for me again this November. And if it's not my place, then forgive me, but I'm also going to ask you to please consider voting for Tina and Leila and all the candidates running in the Democratic Party. And then there are other also good candidates, right? So, but Democrats, please, and thank you.